does off-market selling change the role of the agent? That's what we're going to be discussing in this presentation. And I would like to start with the comment that off-market sales or off-market sales strategy is something that real estate agents have been using since agents started selling property. In fact, it's nothing new. It may well have gone under different names before. We might have heard it called, say, a silent sale or a private listing, or perhaps even an unadvertised listing. But there's no doubt that it's been around. And it's also fairly common to hear people say that off-market sales is really the preserve of agents at the very top of their game. And what I think they mean by that is that it requires somebody who's got a deep reservoir, an agent with a deep reservoir of qualified buyers or access to people, in other words, perhaps buyer's agents, who can introduce you to qualified buyers. So, the idea of an off-market sale has definitely gone through a bit of a makeover. I think the spin doctors have got hold of it, and the vanguard of the real estate Illuminati have also been involved in sort of giving it a bit of a makeover and presenting it as something perhaps new, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But let's now focus on what are the component parts here. Now, before we get into that, I want to make a comment about, in my opinion, the role of buyer's agents in the evolution and the renaissance, if you wish, of off-market selling. Now, in the days when agents would offer vendors the opportunity to sell their property and then require them to spend a fair amount on public advertising, that particular model can now be contrasted to a vendor's agent saying to a vendor, well, look, we can try selling your property off market, meaning that we are not going to require any advertising, be it you, the vendor, paying the advertising or somebody else paying the advertising. We are going to rely on the fact that we're going to access buyers privately. We're going to be able to access them and connect with them in ways other than drawing them to the sale by way of advertising. So buyer's agents, in my view, have played a critical part in being able to escalate and elevate off-market selling to the point where we've reached today. But let's get back to the issue at hand, is an off-market sale any different? Does it require the agent to work any differently or meet any other requirements or different requirements? So we got a prospect, right? So whether we're doing private treaty or non-off-market selling or off-market, we're going to have to prospect for our listing. We're going to have to inspect the property. We're going to have to appraise the property. There's no difference really there. And then once we've done that, we need to enter into an agency agreement if we want to claim our commission and our expenses. And we need to, for residential sales in particular, we need to make sure that we've got a draft contract available in our registered office so that the purchaser can come along or their legal advisor and inspect it. So it's the last two requirements, in my view, the Section 55 requirement that you must have a valid agency agreement so that you can claim your commission and your expenses, and the Section 63 requirement that you need to have before you begin any form of marketing. And marketing is a very broad definition under the Act. Before you do any of that, you must have a full draft contract available in your office, typically prepared by the vendor solicitor. Now, it's my contention that it's the last two of those requirements that's going to present the most challenges to an off-market practitioner, because oddly enough, it's those one or both of those two issues that are going to be the ones that are typically avoided, or you'll have the chain kind of dragged by a vendor who is disingenuous or uncommitted or just recalcitrant. So here's your off-market practitioner trying to do the right thing. The vendor is, however, delaying or refusing to sign an agency agreement because they might be thinking, well, let's just test the market. And the same thing, that particular vendor may also be saying, well, since it's off market, why do we need a contract? So if you're an off-market practitioner, you really need to focus on these issues, that it is actually no different to a traditional sale in the sense that we've got to do all the same things if we want to get our commission. It would be very heartbreaking for a off-market practitioner to do all the hard work and then to have the commission denied, or to have their commission questioned with the threat that if they don't comply, then some or all of their commission may not be paid. So, as I said, it's my view that there is no difference between an off-market sale and a traditional sale. All the legal requirements are still the same. The only real difference is that with an off-market sale, there is no public advertising, whereas with a traditional sale, there is typically a degree of or a lot of public advertising. But I'm going to leave you with two thoughts, having hopefully made it clear as to my view that there is no difference between off-market selling and the role of the agent and traditional selling. The role of the agent is identical. The role of the vendor's agent does not change at all, if, of course, you assume that you want to be compliant, and if, of course, you assume that you want to earn and keep your commission. But I will leave you with two thoughts. The first one is that is it true or accurate that if you're an off-market practitioner, you therefore necessarily have to work harder and smarter because of the lack of advertising? I'll leave that as a question. The second question that occupies my mind typically is, how accurate is it to say that an off-market sale gets you better than or the same price as a non-off-market sale? I'll leave you to ponder both those questions, and thank you for your attention. My name is Craig Swan for Leverage Academy. I always welcome your comments and queries. If you want to reach me, Instagram at Craig_Leverage Group. Via email, it would be craigswan@leveragegroup.com.au. And if you prefer Facebook, then just look for Leverage Group. I wish you all the very best. And as usual, happy hunting.